Hi, my name is Marissa, and I help people search for the truth of the Bible using information that both believing and unbelieving scholars generally agree on. For centuries, of all the Gospels, critical scholars have focused their fiercest attacks on the Gospel of John, saying things like, it was written too late in the 2nd century and obviously by someone in Asia who wasn't an eyewitness, had little to no first-hand knowledge of Jerusalem, and just wanted to make a theologically built-up legend or myth of Jesus as the Son of God. But as always, God proves himself in time, and now we have specific, hard evidence that the writer of the Gospel of John was an eyewitness to 1st century Jerusalem. Remember, there's the Ryland Gallery Papyrus I shared with you in the first episode from early 2nd century, which means John was written definitely earlier than those critical scholars wanted, placing it in the possible lifetime of the Apostle John. And then there are the archaeological discoveries that are direct evidence that the writer of John saw these places with his own eyes and definitely had first-hand knowledge of Jerusalem from before 70 AD, when most of Jerusalem was destroyed by Rome. According to some scholars, the Gospel of John is about 85% unique in its stories when compared to the other 3 Gospels, which have so many things in common. Believing scholars argued this Gospel is meant to be supplemental to the others, and John adding his stories to the accounts, while unbelieving scholars argue this makes it more likely to be made up. So I'm going to cover 2 specific discoveries of places only mentioned in the Gospel of John. The first archaeological discovery I want to share with you today is the Pool of Bethesda. Remember the story from John 5 of the man who had been lame for 38 years? He was at the Pool of Bethesda with many other disabled people who were hoping for a healing. Well, for a long time, John's description of the pool was dismissed by critical scholars as just a literary made-up addition because the writer of John spoke of a rare-shaped pool with 5 colonnades, and no pool had ever been found like that in Jerusalem. See, we assume 5 colonnades meant a 5-sided pool, like a pentagon shape. But in 1888, the Pool of Bethesda was found by Conrad Schick, and it was a pool divided by a colonnade in the middle. And in addition to the 5th colonnade, they also found artifacts indicating that this pool at some point had been used by worshippers of the Greek healing god Asclepius, which may explain the man's superstition that if he could just touch the stirring waters first, that he would be healed. Later manuscripts of John added verse 4, trying to explain the stirring of the waters and this superstition with angels. But our earliest manuscripts, they don't mention an angel. And that's why your Bible you have at home may have omitted verse 4 from chapter 5. In fact, we now know the stirring was caused by a chimney-like opening between the 2 pools that acted as a dam. One pool was higher than the other, so rain would collect in the higher pool, and then this dam would open up and fill the lower pool, through this opening here. Jewish scholars also point out, however, that the steps leading down into the pool look like other mikvahs, and this could have been a place for ritual cleansing. It's an interesting dichotomy, and no one is completely sure which came first, the mikvah or the Asclepian. Or perhaps pagan influences found their way into the community during 1st century Jerusalem, much like other times in the Old Testament. But no matter, it makes you wonder, how many times do we look for our healing in the wrong places before we seek his healing first? How many times have we been tricked by the world into believing something like the stirring of the water, which was simply a releasing of a dam? Like if you do this or that strange ritual, you will be healed, when in fact our hearts know better. I think it's telling that Jesus says to the lame man, "Get up and take your mat." And then he tells the man to sin no more. Perhaps Jesus was saying the man's faith in a superstition instead of God was an act of sin, and we should learn from his mistake. In the end, for so long, critical scholars believed this portion of the gospel was fairy tale and used John's description of the 5 colonnades as a reason to dismiss his gospel. But archaeology proved them wrong in 1888. And you can go see the Pools of Bethesda now in Jerusalem with your own eyes. In our next episode, I'll be talking about the second discovery that points to the truth of the Gospel of John. And I can't wait to share it with you. It's about the Pool of Siloam, which is now an active dig as of this year. In the meantime, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. We appreciate it. We're brand new. Until next time, friends.
I know that we may still disagree, but search honestly. Search